Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carl Cruz MMA. Today, I am with Miss Shannon Clark, undefeated professional mixed martial artist. She is the MMA Barbie, and she is making her debut on the Dana White Contender Series September 3rd. Shannon, we're just a few weeks away from competition, little under 4 weeks away. What's the mindset knowing like this whole thing is going to become a reality and you're a fight away from potentially being in the UFC?
Yeah, the closer we get, it's more surreal. Like it was funny because this whole fight camp, it's like you knew about the fight. It feels like it's been so long coming up, and now it's just flying by day by day. And you're just like, holy crap, it's gonna be here basically tomorrow, it feels like. But my coach and I, we actually just talked about this 2 days ago, and we were just saying how long this fight camp has been compared to other ones and how long it's felt. But now at the same time, it's gone by so fast, and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's coming up, and it's crazy.
So how did you get your crazy start in this world of professional mixed martial arts, combat sports? If I'm not mistaken, you used to be a soccer player
Yeah.
and you somehow went to this whole other universe of combat sports. How did this all develop?
So I dated a guy who was in MMA, and it was kind of, hey, come to the gym, try it out. I was in my university soccer career, so I would just come and do the kickboxing classes and just to stay in shape. And then when soccer was done, I didn't know what else to do, so I enjoyed it. Like I love the kickboxing classes. I love the adults that did it at the gym, and we are friends and stuff. So kind of just trained more and more and more. And then it was more like, hey, like I train a lot. Let's just do one fight. So I think it was 2019 was my first fight. Could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And it was just that January, I actually tried training MMA, not just doing kickboxing class. That's when I was like, hey, we're going all out. We're going to do Rumble in the Cage. We knew would be September, October-ish at that time. So we're like, okay, you got 9 months to train, and there's your first fight. So kind of that's just how it started. I just fell in love with it. I've never actually been in a fight unless I've been in the cage. So that first fight was very different for me. I've never punched anything in my life, and nothing's ever punched me. So that was different. I had no idea if I would be able to take a punch or not. So far I can, I guess, but I mean, we'll see what happens.
Obviously, when you compare the sports of soccer and mixed martial arts, completely different. You have the cardio. I mean, the cardio obviously you get from soccer, that helps you in the fight. But the jiu-jitsu, the wrestling, the striking, the movement, the pace, it's all completely different. Are those just things that you adapted and it was almost natural for you? Like, do you feel like you learned it pretty naturally?
I wouldn't say learned it naturally, no. I mean, if you ask me what a certain choke is or anything, I still don't know the names or terms. I make them up. So my coach and my training partners have adapted to my language, actually. I don't think I'll always be a white belt. I don't think I'll ever know the terminology. But I think with soccer, it gave me what is expected of an athlete to train, the background of that. So the hours to put in, to always push yourself. I think soccer helped with that part. But besides that, I think I just wing it.
Now, at what point in your time in mixed martial arts did you really start to realize in the back of the head, hey, I might have a chance to make a run here at the UFC. I might have a chance to be in the bigger regional shows?
That's actually it's still not fully there. I guess I kind of was like, wow, we have a chance when I got offered this fight. I don't really realize how big each fight I've had means or anything. I still feel like it's kind of crazy that I even could be in the UFC. I just don't believe that that's going to happen, or I don't know. It's just so weird. So if it happens, I'm going to be like, are you sure? Are they just going to take it away? I don't know. It's just, I don't look that far. And so right now with me, I don't know. I just take it one fight at a time, and I have no idea. Yeah.
Now, what's the mixed martial arts scene like in Western Canada right now? I mean, obviously in the United States, there's tons of different promotions, tons of different gyms. Canada does have their own scene, but I guess it's not as big. But, what's the state of it currently?
I would say it's more for amateurs or new professionals. there's not a lot of females over here, at least not in my area. I know there's some in Ontario area, but I mean, it's not like I can train with any of them. There were a couple of girls here that went to the States. So for females, there's not too many left of us in this area. But from where I am, Lethbridge, there's professional boys and stuff, but I would say it's more the early stages. There's not too many guys that are actually anyone that's really fighting outside of Canada. Like they don't go to LFA or there's no one in PFL, Bellator, UFC. I wouldn't say there's anyone in that area close to me. So it's more just, I would say, amateur and like early pro fighters.
You know, I mean, kind of beat me to it, but you've been fighting for LFA. Past couple of fights have been for LFA. Was the move to fight at that promotion, obviously known as one of the biggest feeder promotions to get athletes to the UFC, was one of the reasons to go there? It's fact it was just tougher getting opponents in Canada.
Honestly, it was a bucket list to fly somewhere. So that kind of happened, and we just jumped on that. I actually didn't even know LFA. I didn't know it existed. I had no idea what this was. I didn't know it was a UFC feeder. I had no idea until maybe my second fight or going into my second fight with them, the title fight. That's when I kind of started to like. I was told it's a big deal, and then I went to the fight, and I was like, oh wow, this is bigger than the Lethbridge fight, or any fight I've been on. But like, it's never really registered with me. I'm still so naive with this sport that I don't realize how important everything is. So honestly, I just learned about LFA, not even a year ago. I just learned that it's actually a big deal. And yeah, it was more just a bucket list to be flown somewhere, and an opportunity happened.
You know, your last performance in LFA against Lopez really caught the eye of a lot of people. LFA 177. You're able to land a nasty bulldog choke there in that second round for someone who's calling herself a white belt. There was no white belt maneuver there. Want to walk me through that a little bit? I mean, you know, that's a maneuver. You don't see it that much. We don't see that finish that much. Is that something you were training, or did you just see a point where, you know, hey, maybe I can take her out with this move?
No, I trained that. I don't remember exactly how that came across in training. I'm pretty sure I was always in that position. And then my coach was like, by the way, there's a choke there. And he showed it to me. And when something clicks with me, it clicks. Let's force this on you to learn. And there's something you teach me once and it clicks, I get it. So that was one of those moves that he showed it to me once. I got it. I get it on the guys. It was something we definitely practiced. So when I saw it, I did it. I actually didn't know until after that fight that it was actually rare or anything like that. I had no idea. I just assumed it was common.
Now, walk me through at what point on the mat when you had, or did you feel like you could land that? Walk me through that. Where you were able to set up?
Yeah. I'm trying to think. When I went to the side there, I felt it. I remember, I mean, I black out in fights, so it's really hard to remember exactly everything. But I remember getting the choke in, and she tried standing up. But I remember my coach always saying, no, like if it's locked in with you, like, because I can tell when it is and isn't because of the guys. If they can't get it on me, a girl my size can't, right? If they're bigger boys. So I knew it was locked in, but I was just so confused on why she wasn't tapping because I was kind of going to get pissed off at my coach there and be like, you told me that if it's locked in, she should tap. And I felt like it was locked in and she wasn't tapping. So then I kind of got a little pissed at that, like more so about my coach being like, no, you said it's locked in. And so I was thinking at the time, like, if I'm not going to be able to get you to tap, well, F you kind of thing. And I shoved her face into the cage because I was like, well, then that will make you like, I don't know if I can hurt you a little more or something. But apparently she was already out at that time. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I remember looking after the fight and jumping and being so excited that I even won. It's more about that. Like I said, it wasn't about how I won. It was just, oh my gosh, I won. I was shocked. And then I remember looking her on the ground and be like, oh shit, like, is she okay? Like, I've never been around anything like that where someone actually went out. So I was like, oh no, like I felt so bad after. But yeah, with the choke, it was just something that I felt in training. So I knew when it was locked in, it was locked in.
You know, following that victory, did you feel a lot of attention come your way on social media? I know that clip was passed around to get a lot of people hitting you up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it definitely skyrocketed on social media. I'm not good at social media. Like I don't post anything and I know I should once in a while, but I just don't ever A, I don't have the time, or B, I feel like no one really cares to know what's happening in my life, so why post things? But I definitely felt like I got a lot of views and people started noticing me because of the way that fight finished for sure.
Now, after that contest, did you think the Contender Series was a possibility after picking up that victory?
I was told that, hey, you'll probably never fight in LFA again. Right after that fight, I was still, well, that's a lie, probably will. Um, Attitude, like I was very shocked. Don't get me wrong, like everyone always says that's the next move, but to me, I don't know. I didn't believe it, and even still, I'm like, well, maybe they'll pull the fight. Still, I don't know. I always get so scared when my manager messages me. I'm like, oh no, here comes the news. They're pulling my fight. So, no, I guess I was really shocked when I got the news.
Now, do you remember where you were when you got the phone call that you were going to fight on the Contender Series?
Yeah, I was at work and my agent called me, AJ, and he was like, okay, like we need to have a talk with your coach. And I thought he was gonna call me and be like, it's not happening, they don't want you, um, you're not good enough kind of thing. And we did like a three-way conversation. And that's actually how we started the conversation, was like, so some bad news. And I was like, okay, let me hear it. And then he was like, you made it. And it was kind of joking. I was like, oh, you can't do that to me. Like I believe people. So no, I remember. And then I like I said, I don't, until I went to the media day, I didn't realize even how big that is. I've never seen a Dana White Contender Series episode yet. So I'll probably watch this season so that I know what to expect, but I've never seen it. So I actually don't even know people watch it. Like it's so crazy to me. It's still how big this is.
No, what are were your coworkers' thoughts when they first found out that you're a professional fighter?
Well, I own the business with my dad, so I mean, it's my dad, so he obviously knew. And then there's a couple people that are in the building as well that have their own businesses, and they're with me the whole time. I mean, with my dad in the company for years now, so they've been to my fight. So it's more just like, yeah, you deserve it. They see how much work I put in, on top of the busy life I have. So they're kind of more just like, there's our badass girl. Here's her office. If we ever need security, it's her. And I was like, yeah, but do you know me? I am not a fighter unless I'm in the cage.
You know, so many people watch the UFC in this day and age. You know, they look at the athletes and they see the fame, the celebrity. Oh, their life's amazing. But I think very few people realize the grind it takes to get there. You know, battling it out on the regional scene. You're not making $1 million to fight. Just that people work full-time jobs. They have kids. They're married. You know, they have people to feed. They have to get punched on the face on the side. What keeps you going? What motivation do you have that sticks with through all the sacrifices?
More my competitive side. I'm just very competitive with myself. So I mean, I know what it takes to win, or for me at least. So it's like I need to be better than I was last fight camp, or else what's the point of training? Um, so for me, it's okay. Well, I was like this, and I used to be able to be like this in shape. So now I need to beat that, or I need to learn more. I got to do. So I'm so competitive with myself that that's what keeps pushing me to every fight. And I say this to my coach all the time: if I'm not getting better, tell me now, and we might as well call it quits. If I've hit my peak, let's stop, because it's a lot of work put in and away from. It's hard on my friends and family, especially my family, just to do it for fun. So it's kind of like you said, you're not getting paid the big bucks, and it's a side gig. I mean, I have a business that will be always my business. I have little babies, so it's a lot. Yeah, and I just keep pushing myself. I was very competitive in soccer. My coaches kind of made us into competitive because it was like, oh, well, you were in this shape last year. You better be better than you are this year. You want to be captain, you got to be at this shape. You got to do this, and it's kind of like kept going on and on about that. So I think that's just what like started how I've always been competitive with myself, and that's just what keeps going.
Do you think it's important for fighters to realize that, you know, you have only a short window of when you can actually compete in mixed martial arts, and maybe to think of maybe other sources of revenue or avenues when fighting is over?
Um, Well, I mean, I own a business and I'm a financial advisor. So finance wise, yes, that's just how I've been raised. I mean, I wanted to be a financial advisor since I was in grade 2. So that's when my dad had his company. I fell in love with it. I mean, I've helped my dad with even taxes since, oh gosh, high school. Like I love math. I love puzzles like that. I love um, finance and all that stuff. So for me to look at the side of, well, I don't understand, why do people not have jobs when they fight? Yeah, it's crazy to me. But again, that's just because I'm finance side. I see other people's side. I look at the money wise and I'm like, well, it's not an income, but that's just again my opinion. Everyone's different.
All right, so you're taking on Duben here in your Contender Series matchup, September 3rd. Overall, what do you think of her as an opponent?
I think she's gonna be very tough on her feet. I mean, she could always go to the ground. It's just no footage has really came across of her being on the ground as much. I mean, if you look at the way she's won, basically standing. So I think she's gonna want to stand. I mean, we're gonna try and be prepared all around, but I think she's gonna want to stand and throw down, is what I'm predicting.
Would you be surprised in a contest like this with that mentality if this could be a situation where someone gets finished in the first round or a 3-round dogfight?
No, I think that's very possible.
No, I think this one is going to be a lot of action packed. I think both of your styles really complement each other, and I think it's going to be a very tough pace. And I think the fans are going to get a treat in this one. But with a victory, and a potential contract opportunity, an opportunity to fight in the UFC, what would that mean to you?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I mean, it would be unreal and amazing. It would show that it's kind of like proving to yourself that all the work you put in is worth it. Also that you can't really make up excuses. I mean, like I said, I have a very, very busy life compared to a lot of people, and you can always make time for something that's very important to you. So it would just be more reassuring that it's all worth it at the end.
We've seen obviously Canadian mixed martial artists. I mean, some very big names: Roy McDonald and George St. Pierre. Not too many though on the women's side of things. I mean, Jasmine Justa Vicious, she's out there. You have Jillian Robertson. She's Canadian. Valerie Letourneau. For you, what would it mean to be able to represent Canada and also show girls in Canada that they can grow up in Canada and also make it to the UFC?
I mean, that would be awesome. Unfortunately, I don't think like that far ahead. It was never a dream to make it to the UFC. It was never that kind of dream to be where I am right now. Because I just like to take it one fight at a time. So, I mean, I find it even weird that people care to watch my video or want to interview me or any of that stuff. So I don't even know, to be at that kind of spotlight, what it would even feel like, because to me, this is just unreal that even I get to this point.
Was that trip out to Vegas to do all the media stuff, was that maybe a little overwhelming or a little bit like, wow, this is nuts?
It was different. I mean, I'm very bad at the interviews. I'm very bad at that kind of stuff. I mean, you get a camera in front of me and I'll smile, not serious face. You get talking about the fights and I'm just like, I don't know, I just hope I win. So that stuff is very hard. I mean, my coach loves watching that because he laughs so much at me, because it's like, oh, Shannon, stop talking kind of attitude. You're embarrassing Canada. But no, it was really awesome to see what like professional athletes actually get. Like, I know this is probably, I assume at least, this is nothing than what actual UFC people get. And it was just unreal. Like, if this was the last experience I ever get, like, it's a memory to always remember and be so grateful that you even get this part. It was just like, yeah, it was unreal. I'm glad I went because now I know what to expect. Like, to be able to, because our pictures and stuff are at the Apex Center, which is where we're fighting. So at least I got to see the area that we're fighting and stuff like that. So now I know what to go. I couldn't imagine going the fight day and then be like, holy crap, this is it. Like, this is not small little area that I've always fought in, like the whole building itself and the company. But I never actually realized how big the UFC company even is. And then you go there and you're just like, holy crap. Like, there's a lot of money in this business, not necessarily for the fighters, but like just in general. And it's just like, wow, professional athletes, that's unreal what they get. Yeah, I went to the PI and it was just like a little tour there, and it was just like, holy crap, you make it to the UFC and you get that if you're in Vegas. Like, it's unreal. I'm so jealous of athletes like that. It's amazing.
Obviously, you get to fight, as you mentioned, the multi-million-dollar facility, beautiful building. Going to be a little different than the LFA fights. Limited crowd. That Apex, not a lot of fans get in there. Maybe takes the fans away, takes the noise away, but allows you to hear the coaches a little better. Allows the communication to be a little better. Have you thought about how that might dictate the fight?
In a fight, I don't really hear too much of the crowd. I mean, you always hear the odd like ooh ah kind of thing. But I think it's just, and I could be wrong, I don't know how other people feel, but for me, it was like from soccer. You only listen to your certain teammates or your coach. So I actually block out a lot of sound, doesn't matter how many people have been in the crowd. Like I said, except for the occasional ooh, ah thing. But I've always heard my coach. Sometimes I'll hear their coach, but a lot of times I just hear my coach and that's it. So I'm very tunnel visioned in there, and I'm very aware of his voice and his voice only. So, I mean, having the crowd there, having not the crowd there, I don't think that will really affect me as much because I don't hear them to begin with.
All right, Shannon, last question for you. In a perfect world, what is the outcome when you take on Yuneisy Duben September 3rd at the Dana White Contender Series?
It's a win. I don't know how. I don't really know for sure, but honestly, I just want to have a win. So fingers are crossed for that.
All right, Shan. Well, thank you so much for talking to me today. I mean, you're a good interview. I don't think you're that bad.
Okay. Wait till you see the interviews before my fight, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, that's what she means."
All right, Shan. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. I'm really looking forward to the fight, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's Shannon Clark. I'm Carl Prusa. Stick around.